O'Reilly.
Stay cool this summer with AC Pro and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, get a $15 O'Reilly Auto Parts gift card after mail-in rebate with the purchase of select AC Pro ready-to-use refrigerant products that include a hose and gauge. Beat the heat before you hit the road with AC Pro at your local O'Reilly Auto Parts store.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
This is Legal Live with Eddie and Chuck Farah. They're talking the latest legal news and answering your questions. To call Legal Live and ask Eddie and Chuck a question, grab your phone and dial 855-765-1045. That's 855-765-1045.
Welcome and happy Saturday. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We'd love to hear from you today, so give us a call at 855-765-1045. I'm Sheifalika, and I'm joined here by the host with the most, Eddie Farah. How you doing?
Really good, Sheifalika. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get right into it. What's on your mind today?
Well, I want to, of course, as I always say, the phone calls from you, our listeners, is our priority. So if you have a question, call in. It's on a legal issue. Again, we're personal injury lawyers at Farah and Farah, but we know a lot of lawyers in town that can help out in your legal situation. We can tap into some of those resources. If it's a real estate question, a family law, a probate, we know people who are willing to help. And you can always go to the Jack's Bar Association. They have an attorney referral service. For $50, you can talk to an attorney for 30 minutes on your legal topic. They'll find you a lawyer that specializes in that area. It's the best deal going. Attorneys donate their time to do this, and you can use it, and it's very helpful. You don't have to live in Jacksonville. I mean, you can be in St. Louis, you can be anywhere. I mean, they'll help anyone out that they can, and so it's a great it's a great resource. And anyway, but in the meantime, let's hear your questions if you got them. I've got stuff to talk about, and I'll start off with I'm going to talk about an interesting case that came out of Michigan. And today's Constitution Day, isn't it, Sheifalika?
That's right, and Citizenship Day.
We're going to talk about a constitutional case today.
Okay, great.
This involved delay. This was a federal case. A constitutional issue. This lady is driving her vehicle. The officer pulls her over to give her a speeding ticket, and he's trying to be nice to her, so he gives her a ticket for a lesser violation. I don't know if it was a reduced speed or just maybe another ticket that was less than what he could have given it to her for. So she's still upset. She doesn't like it. So on the way, as she's leaving, she shoots the police officer a bird. She gives him the finger. So
No.
She gives him the finger. He thought he was doing her a favor by giving her a lesser ticket. Anyway, she gives him the finger, so he pulls her over again.
Oh no.
Pulls her over again and gives her an upgraded ticket. Like, he goes, okay, I gave you a break. Now I'm going to give you a ticket for whatever it is, which was a lot more serious than what she had gotten before. So anyway, because he stops her again, gives her the ticket. So she turns around and she sues the police officer under two issues. One, violating her First Amendment right, freedom of speech, shooting him the bird.
Wow.
Okay. And secondly, it's an illegal search and seizure. She was stopped again. He had no probable cause to stop her. And the court ruled in her favor that, yes, maybe it was rude what she did. Maybe she was ungrateful, but she had every right to give the police officer the finger. And secondly, the officer had no right to stop her again. That's a violation of her Fourth Amendment right. So her lawsuit against the police could continue.
Wow.
That was a federal court that ruled that way. And I don't know how it turned out, how much money she got, but the lawsuit was able to proceed based on the constitutional right, the First Amendment and the Fourth Amendment. So
That's
I think
interesting.
that's an interesting case. I mean, I'm not advocating giving the police the bird
Right.
or the finger, but you've got a constitutional right to do it.
Oh my
You
goodness.
can do that. So under this federal court ruling, So I thought that was an interesting case.
That
This
is
one,
pretty
Constitution.
interesting.
I got another one we can talk about. If we're talking about the Constitution, there's another one I can I read about. I'm not a criminal lawyer, but I find these criminal cases or these constitutional law issues very interesting. The other one was kind of a similar situation. This was a guy who was on a motorcycle, and he had been eluding the police. They were trying to stop him for traffic violation. I guess he was speeding through the neighborhood. Twice they couldn't get him. So he gets away from the police. They can't catch him on his motorcycle. So they go onto Facebook and they find out that he's at his girlfriend's house. And the motorcycle's in his girlfriend's driveway. And they also find out that the motorcycle that he's been evading them with is stolen. So they go to the girlfriend's house. They see this tarp over a motorcycle in the driveway. So they enter the driveway without the girlfriend's consent. They look under the tarp. They see the motorcycle. And they go, oh, this is the motorcycle. It's stolen. We arrest him for dealing in stolen property. Okay. So, of course, he hires a lawyer, and his lawyer raises a constitutional issue. The issue that he raised was that the police did not have a warrant to enter the property. They did not have the consent of the owner of the home to enter to the driveway. They had no one's consent to lift the tarp up over the motorcycle. Therefore, they violated this person's constitutional rights, and case dismissed.
Wow.
That's never a federal court case that deals with the constitutional issue. So there you have it. That's my two constitutional cases. I think they're right on point. They're interesting.
Yeah.
I think it's good stuff.
I think that's interesting. I mean, the police understand that if they don't follow proper procedure, any criminal cases they bring up could get dismissed because of this, and then it could backfire onto them as well. Yeah. And
everybody's got to follow the laws. I mean,
yeah, and the Constitution is kind of the founding document of our country. So I can't believe it. 235 years ago, 1787, they signed it.
Yep. Still trying to figure out what it means too.
Yeah, I know. There's always something new to learn with it.
It's an evolving document. You know, it changes. But anyway, those are my two constitutional cases.
Those are pretty good.
I don't know if we have no calls. Okay, I can continue on then. The other thing I wanted to get into was, and I may have talked about this before, but the reason I bring it up, I was watching the news this morning, and a child suffocated. They were playing like in a dirt pile. There was something on the news this morning, I think on the west side somewhere. And the dirt, he was like dug a hole and the dirt fell on him and he suffocated. They were trying to,
oh my goodness.
It was this morning really a tragedy. So I started thinking about, what is that? Is there something going on there? Is there something else to it? And, there's a doctrine in Florida called the attractive nuisance doctrine. Now, generally, if a person is trespassing on your, we'll get back into that. Okay.
Well, I think you should continue.
I will. Well, this is going to take a few minutes, but do you want me to do it now and just?
Well, how about we come back after the break then?
All right, let's take a break and I'll get into what happened.
You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back. You're listening to Legal Live. We were just discussing a very tragic event over on the west side in Jacksonville. Eddie, would you like to continue what you were saying there?
Sure. I think a child was he was in a dirt pile building a tunnel and fell in the tunnel and the dirt collapsed on him, and then I think he passed as a result of that. But the reason I bring that up is that Florida has what they call an attractive nuisance doctrine. And generally, if somebody is trespassing on your property, the only duty you have to that person is not to intentionally hurt them or engage in gross misconduct to cause somebody an injury. So really, if you've got a trespasser on your property, you really don't owe them much of an obligation of safety. Unlike going into a big box store or going grocery shopping, those people want you there. So they owe you a higher duty of care. They have a duty to maintain a safe premises. They want you to come into their store. So therefore, they owe you a higher duty of care. A trespasser, you owe them a very low duty of care, if any. But when it comes to a child, even if a child is a trespasser, under the attractive nuisance doctrine, if you have something on your property that would attract a child onto your property, and a child that's not able to appreciate the danger of that item, then if that trespasser, the child, is injured, you're responsible. A lot of, most people think of swimming pools. That's an attractive nuisance.
Right.
Kids love water. If you have a swimming pool that's not fenced in, and there are kids in the neighborhood and kids come through there, kids would be attracted to that body of water. But it's not just a swimming pool. It could be anything. It could be an abandoned refrigerator in your front yard. It could be an abandoned vehicle, a car. In one case I read about, the homeowner was doing some construction on the house, adding a room, and he had a ladder against the house, and a child climbed up, trespassed onto his property, climbed up the ladder, and was injured. That was an attractive nuisance doctrine. Even though that child was a trespasser, he was able to maintain a claim against a homeowner under the attractive nuisance doctrine. So the moral to the story is, if you are a property owner or you control a piece of property, and there are children in the area that you know of, or have reason to believe, you know or should know that there are children in the neighborhood, you should be very mindful of what you leave on your property. And what could be if you've got an old abandoned dishwasher or washing machine, those can be very dangerous. Refrigerators, there are many things that would encompass that attractive nuisance. It's anything that attracts a child that poses a danger to them and they're injured by it. So
Wow.
I bring that up because of what we talked about in the news today. But
That's interesting, and it's very tragic what happened over on the west side, or at least off of Manette Road. The young child was digging a tunnel and got trapped into the dirt, and that's very sad and tragic. Well, we do have a call on the line. Are you ready for it?
yes, let's take it.
Let's go. We've got a anonymous caller from Nassau County, and you have a question about a slip and fall. Tell us about it.
Well, I took in was actually working, and the contractor that I work for, the company I work for, took and had built a working scaffold platform to work off of. But to get to the platform, I had to cross several pieces of pipe to get to it, and they didn't build any kind of walkway across the pipe to get to the platform to work off of. And in the process of me trying to climb the ladder to get on top of the platform, I slipped and fell off the dusty, wet pipe. It was first thing in the morning. And since then, I've had shoulder surgery, and just recently I had back surgery and all, and I just wondering what the circumstances of that, or if there's any kind of repercussions against the company, or what's the deal?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm assuming workers' compensation is picking up all your medical bills right now, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you're under workers' comp. You're looking at a separate claim from your workers' comp claim. You're working for a claim against the employer or one of the other subs. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Or I just don't know. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. I'm just wanting to see if I've got any kind of legal standing or
Well, who put
whatever. See now,
I'd have to know a little bit more about it. Who put those PVC pipes that you slipped on? Were they like part of the structure?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They was it wasn't PVC. It was metal pipes of different sizes, from like about 4-inch to about 8-inch pipe.
All right, so they were part of the building you were working on. I mean,
it's part of it's actually on a ship at work.
Okay. All right. So
it was actually docked.
Okay. So you're talking about a longshoreman?
No, sir. No, sir. I'm a city employee.
Yeah. Well, I'd have to know more about it. I think but let me talk in general terms. Okay. There are exceptions, but generally, if you're injured on the job, you can only sue the employer if there's almost an intentional act by the employer to get you injured. If the employer commits negligence or doesn't tell you something, or is not in the workplace is not safe because he forgot to do something to make it safe, generally you really can't sue the employer. The laws have changed over the last several years to make it very difficult to sue your employer, as you probably know. It has to be almost an intentional act. Like he basically takes the pipe and beat you over the head with it, kind of thing, almost. I mean, it's hard to believe. No. We've seen cases. I've seen cases that the court has thrown out where the employer almost like you look at the facts and you say this employer almost intentionally hurt this employee, and yet the court throws him out. Now there are exceptions and there are things you can do, but generally, I'd have to know more about it. If you want to leave your number, we can talk to you about it. We can call you back on Monday, but it's very difficult. Now you're getting your comp, you're getting your lost wages, you're getting your medical bills paid, and so if they're doing what they should do under workers' comp, you're getting what you should right now. But in terms of a separate lawsuit, that's something that needs to be investigated further.
Yes, sir. Well, like I say, for about 15 years, we complained to safety and everybody about the working conditions down there where we was working at, and then they finally built a scaffolding, and then my immediate manager, after the accident happened, calls the safety guy and says, "Hey, what we talked about could happen?" He said, "Well, it happened." So they knew it was a possible accident waiting to happen before it happened.
Yep. But you know what? I'm just telling you, I know that. Yeah. Even though they knew it was a dangerous condition and they were told about it, it's still under the law. It's not intentional.
Yes, sir.
I mean, I've seen case after case about it where the same facts as you said. I go, man, the employer was told about it. Other people were gotten hurt the same way, and they just kind of don't make any changes, and then people keep getting hurt. And even in those situations, I've not seen any successful cases against the employer. None.
Yes.
Right.
Well, I'm not necessarily wanting to sue them. I just want to know if there's any kind of, because I'm pretty much screwed for the rest of my life. You have a major. I'm well over 60 now, and I'm trying to retire. But you know what? I mean, I'm gonna be screwed. Not screwed. No. I'm gonna be messed up for the rest of my life.
No, you are, but you
are. As far as hurting, So I just don't know if there's anything that's
now the only thing that's
compensatory or.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I have to get more information from. But let me give you an example where you would have a claim. I mean, I'm just giving you an example. Let's say you're on the job and some third party causes the accident that's not covered by workers' comp. Then you can sue them. Like, for instance, if I'm on the job and Mr. Smith runs a red light and hits me, I'm hurt on the job. I get my workers' comp, but I can sue Mr. Smith and have a workers' comp claim because Mr. Smith is not part of my employment. He doesn't work in the same organization as I do. So if there's somebody that's not part of the organization that you're dealing with that contributed to what happened to you, those people would not have the protection of workers' comp, and you would be able to make a claim against them.
Right.
So that's what you'd have. That's what I would have to know more about.
Okay. Well, if you can contact me Monday or sometime or at your earliest convenience, so we can talk a little bit more about it, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. What we'll do, if you'll leave your number with our director, we'll be in phone contact next week, probably Monday. Like I'll be in touch with you. But that's what you have to look at. Was there a third party that maybe contributed to it? Because, listen, you're 60. You're still, listen, I'm older than you.
Still young, yeah. You still got years ahead of you.
I wish I was 60 again. But,
hey, just to give you a hint, Eddie, years ago, about oh my God, back when you hadn't been first in service, you got my truck back for me in a little incident I had a long time ago. So
oh man, well great.
It was back in Nassau County too. So
wow.
I mean, you helped get me out of trouble then, and it wasn't even an injury case, but you sure helped me out back then. And it's been 30 plus years ago. So
well, I appreciate it. Thanks. Makes me feel good here on a Saturday.
Yeah.
That's great. But we'll see what we. Yeah, but man, listen, you should be, you should be able to enjoy your retirement. I mean, this is a big deal.
Yes, sir. And it's kind of tough. I can't even do hardly household chores anymore. Yeah. Things like that. To kind of cut you down deep.
Oh, I know. That's a big deal. I look forward to talking to you next week then. And you'll hear from me. Just leave your number, and I'll be in phone contact. Thanks.
Okay, thank you a lot.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for calling. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. Feel free to give us a call at 855-765-1045. We'll be right back after this quick break. Welcome back. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We've got some callers on the lines with some interesting questions, so let's just jump right in, Eddie. What do you say?
Oh, yeah, let's go for it.
All right, let's go for it. First, we've got John from Jacksonville, and you have a malpractice question. Tell us about it, John.
My mother had a bulging disc in her neck. She went to a hospital to get the pain relief done. They managed to relieve the pain and stop the bulging disc problem. And the next day, visiting with the doctor, they were up and down walking in the hallway to make sure everything went well. Over the weekend, a nurse taking care of my mother had a spinal fluid draining machine, keeping the fluids off the spine, and the nurse squeezed the reservoir bottle back into my mother. Monday morning, she was paralyzed and could not walk. I was trapped in that hospital for probably 2 weeks. She then ensued bed sores, causing infections to get into her body. 4 months later, she passed due to the, bed sores and the infections. She was septic.
Oh, my goodness. So sorry to hear
Yeah.
about that, John.
How long ago did this happen?
The operation occurred in October, and she passed in March. She was in and out of care facilities. The lawyers in Frederick, Maryland were hesitant to go after the hospital where she received the bed sores. They were trying to go after the care facilities, and they couldn't really prove a negligence in that situation.
Where did this happen? Up in Maryland?
Yeah, Frederick, Maryland Hospital.
Mm-hmm. Does your mother,
Frederick,
was she married at the time?
Yes.
Okay, so she has a survivor to make the claim, your dad, her husband.
Yeah, and he's tried several lawyers and with, no success. And they keep stressing the care facility. My sister, during several visits to the hospital, took a picture of a chart. The chart showed bed sore activity with patients, and it had jumped considerably in the month of October when my mom was in that hospital with the surgery.
Yeah, bed sores are easily preventable. You just move the patient.
Right,
I mean,
you
it's not
rotate
rocket-
them on the side.
It's not
once or
rocket
twice a day.
science. Yeah, you move them around and they don't get them.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is, you really need a lawyer up there. You're not going to find somebody down here to handle that. Okay, because you're going to have a lawyer in that area. I mean, I know lawyers in Maryland. I know somebody that may look at, but you've had some lawyers. Now, what's the statute of limitations up there? Do you know? Because I know in Florida.
I'm not sure. I think it's about 3 years.
It is 3. Okay, so you're okay then. Because in Florida, it's 2 years from the date you knew or should have known. So I know most states have them at least some states have a 1-year statute. So you want to be careful about that. The thing is, in Florida, if that case were in Florida, we would definitely look into it because you have a survivor. What a lot of people don't understand is that if your mother had passed away in Florida without like a husband or a child under 25 years of age, there would be no claim. Because no matter how egregious the malpractice is, if there's no survivor, what Florida defines as a survivor, which is either a spouse or a child 25 or under, there is no claim.
Wow.
Yeah, but in Maryland, she has a spouse, so there's a valid claim there. I just don't know why nobody's picked it up.
They've been hesitant. They've been a little scared, I guess. They don't want to go after the Frederick County Hospital.
No.
They want to go after the care facilities, but she received the bed sores in Frederick County Hospital.
But let me tell you, sometimes attorneys will, if they don't want to handle a case, instead of telling you the real reason, they'll say, oh, we know somebody at that hospital, or, we don't want to go against the state hospital because it's a public hospital. I mean, that's not the real reason. There's something else going on there. I don't know what it is, but it seems like somebody made a very bad, tragic mistake, and I don't know why there's no accountability. I mean, the lawyers you talk to, do they specialize in these malpractice cases?
Well, my father's been doing, yes, some of them do, and he's been handling it up there in Frederick. He's been pursuing the case because he witnessed the nurse squeeze the reservoir bottle back into my mother.
Wow.
And then the next day they went to release her, and she says, "Doc, I'm not going anywhere. I'm paralyzed from the waist down."
Wow.
And the reservoir chamber was supposed to be unscrewed, measure the fluid, make a note on a chart, and replace the reservoir bottle. And the nurse squeezed it back into my mother, which even me, I'm a carpenter, and I know that that's not a good thing to get fluids that are being drained back into your body.
Oh, man. That's
so.
I don't know what to tell you. You know, did you file a complaint with the state? You know, in Florida, we have an agency for healthcare administration. They investigate any complaint against a healthcare provider, and every state has one of those. Have you done that or tried that?
I'm not sure of all the avenues my father has tried. I don't think he's actually contacted the state to put in a claim for a complaint form or file a complaint form for malpractice. We built the case. We all put testimony in, and you know, again, we're not finding an attorney either willing or helpful to pursue the case.
Yeah. Have you contacted the Maryland Bar Association? They have an attorney referral service that may be able to help you find somebody.
I can ask my father.
Yeah, Florida has the same thing. You can call the Florida Bar, and they'll try to help you find an attorney. But yeah, I'm sorry we couldn't help you. I know that sounds like, I don't know. I mean, if that were a Florida case, you'd find many lawyers willing to help you out on that.
All right, sir. Well, I'll take your advice, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, John. Thanks for calling in. See, the thing is, Sheifalika, each state's malpractice laws are different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have attorney friends in Texas and in California, and malpractice, because I know people there, they told me, malpractice cases there are very, very difficult to proceed with.
That's interesting.
Yeah, every state's different. Florida's difficult, but it's not as difficult as Texas or California. I don't know what it's like in there. Maybe there are laws there that prevent people from bringing. A lot of times, there are laws that actually prevent people from bringing these types of claims.
That's, I can understand how hospitals feel like they have to protect themselves, but at the same time, if there's a pattern of negligence that could be happening, allegedly, so to speak, where there's multiple patients with bed sores, nurses are perhaps not delicate when dealing with equipment and draining fluids.
Right.
They are, making their own mistakes. For John, by the way, you mentioned, Eddie, you mentioned to John that there's the Maryland State Bar Association. I have that phone number for you because I like to Google stuff. Yeah. If you have a pen, John, the phone number for the Maryland Bar Association is 410-685-7878, or you can call 1-800-492-1964.
Yeah. I mean, it's really amazing. You would think under our civil justice system that there should be some accountability.
Right.
Because, if somebody, this person got away, look what they got away with. I mean, this person,
they got away with.
I mean, people have the type of surgery she's having they do that all day long.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of those are outpatient, as a matter of fact.
Right.
I mean, they're so routine. These doctors that do back surgeries, they can do 10 a day, and they've got it down.
Right.
They got and to have someone, we see a lot of cases. We see a lot. We do.
Yeah,
we handle malpractice cases.
That's right.
I mean, you don't. The case he described is kind of rare because it doesn't really happen that often.
Mm-hmm.
And so when somebody can do that and get away with it, there's no accountability. I mean, it can happen to the next person, and the next person, and the next person.
That's true. And with hospitals like contracting their doctors, like emergency rooms or whatever, it's hard to know who to go for. Do you go for the doctor individually because they're not supported by their hospital? They have to have their own malpractice insurance coverage. Or you go after the hospital. Do you find that specific nurse?
Well, you have to go against. You try to go against everybody. I mean, everybody probably had a hand in it. Who knows? I mean,
goodness.
You got to do your investigation. But in this case, it sounds the way John described it. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
sounds preventable.
Pretty mind-boggling to hear that nobody would handle that.
Yeah, I'm very sorry for your loss, John.
It has to be something about the law. If he had gone to one law firm and they turned him down, maybe those guys didn't really take a good look at it. But if you go to one or more than one law firm and you're getting the same answer, there's something in the law that's preventing that case from moving forward.
Right.
Okay.
Well, our hearts go out to you, John. Thank you for calling. Very interesting question, and good luck to you. Call us back and keep us updated. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. feel free to give us a call at 855-765-1045. We'll be right back after this quick break. All right, welcome back. You're listening to Legal Live, brought to you by 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. We've got a couple of callers on the line right now. Let's go to Paul from the West Side that has a question for Eddie. What's going on, Paul?
Hey, Paul.
You there?
Hello.
Hi,
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
Good. I appreciate your show. I really am disappointed when I realize, oh man, it's after 12, and I just missed half of Eddie Farah's show. So,
hey, thanks for tuning in, man. No, if you don't. Yeah, I think you can listen to it again. I get
at WOKV.com.
Yeah,
you go to the
it,
on-demand tab, and you can listen to all of the Legal Lives to your heart's content.
But it's best live. You got to call in. I mean,
oh yeah,
it's the live part of it.
Yeah. Well, it feels like we get to know you and Chuck and everything, and then I'm looking at the billboards and I'm saying we don't know anything about some of these other people that are, in the family now. I know you got your daughter there, and I hope you'll bring her on the air sometime so we can get to know her too.
You know how these
and there's another fellow on there that he's not as pretty, but we still like to know who he is.
That's my son, so I got two of them in there. Yeah.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah.
Now, are they doing the same thing you are as far as focusing on, personal injury and stuff like that?
Yes, sir. They're doing personal injury, and they like it a lot, But, these kids these days, you know how they are, man. Can you get them to come in on a Saturday and do a radio show? I don't know.
Hey, I'm here. Yeah. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's what we got.
Oh, that's the other thing, too. Sheifalika's doing a great job.
Yeah, I know.
I've kind of listened to her grow as she joined the station and everything, and she's really doing a great job. I really appreciate all you guys. But
thank you.
Tell the kids that they need to come in and let us know who they are so that we get them as part of the family as well.
I appreciate it, John. Yeah, they're heading out to FinFest today. There's a big music concert at the beach. I think they're going to all be out there. But, I'll be 69 in January, so I've been plugging away for a long time. But I'm going to still hang in there. I still love doing it. I'm going to keep working because, it's what I like to do. So,
well, we appreciate it, and we really like you to keep on going as long as you can.
Yeah, man.
But you need to get some backup in there. But it
I
looks
do
like you yeah. And we appreciate you and Chuck. That's all I wanted to say. Unfortunately, I don't have any legal problems right now, but
that's a good thing, Paul.
Yeah, it is.
That's a real good thing.
Yeah, it is. But if I do, I know that you guys will help me or direct me to somebody else who will. So anyway, I appreciate it, Eddie, and you have a good rest of the weekend.
Thanks, Paul. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for your comments. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for
listening. I'm
listening.
tell my kids to start being here on Saturday.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And Paul, you better go get some legal problems so you can call back and we can help. I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, moving on to the next caller. We've got Ken from Jacksonville. We've got just a few minutes, Ken, so let's dive right in. What's going on? You've got a workman's comp issue?
Yeah, Eddie. My name's Ken. I've got an adult son that has Asperger's syndrome. He's on the autism.
Hello?
Hello?
Are you there?
And they put him with a coworker that there was conflict there, and my son tried to tell him there was. And they got to the job, and the kid decided to punch my kid in the mouth and caused my kid's lip to be split open. And this happened in St. Johns County. And when the police came, the other workers, advised he didn't want anything done, and my son had walked away from the scene. The police went over to him, saw him bleeding, tried to get him to go to the hospital, attended to, and he told him he didn't want to go, and the officer tried to get him to stand up so he could put handcuffs on him.
Oh, my goodness.
And my son resisted that, and they ended up wrestling my son. He was in a mental crisis at the time, which we're handling all that through the court system now because they charged him with resisting without.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm just curious because my son did go to the emergency room, ended up with a $7,000 medical bill for his being seen at the emergency room. Would the moving company be responsible under workman's comp to pay that bill since they were working?
Well, yes, of course. Did you file it with the employer?
Well, the employer immediately fired my son.
I know, but it doesn't make a difference.
We never filed a workman's comp claim with them. I didn't know where I stood as far as being able to or anything.
Yeah. Has it affected? Does he have any other physical problems from it? I mean, does he have any dental work that's needed? Is there anything else there resulting from that?
No, sir. Fortunately, it didn't break his teeth or anything. The only thing that it did do is it split his lip, and they put 7 stitches in his lip.
Are you getting billed for that $7,000 right now?
My son received a bill for that. Yes, sir.
Wow. Did you turn it over to his employer to send it to workers' comp to get it paid?
I have not yet done that. But if you're saying that he's eligible, that they should be paying it, I definitely will go take it to them and have a discussion.
Anything that happens on the job, they're responsible for. Even if it's in between 2 co-employees, doesn't make a difference. You're on the job. Fault doesn't matter. Whose fault it was, that doesn't matter. They're responsible for picking up those medical bills and paying his lost wages.
Yes, sir.
Do you lose work as a result of it?
All right. Well, thank you for the advice, sir.
All right. Well, thanks for calling in.
Thank you so much, Ken, for calling in. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he's also entitled to any lost wages, not just the medical bills, but any lost wages he may have lost.
So just a quick question on the back end of that. If somebody does have a learning difference and they are in like a mental crisis and they may not be able to communicate that well when the officers show up, what advice do you have for people real quick?
Well, really, that's not, you would think the officers would know. I mean, they've dealt with different people. They should be able to pick up on that because I don't see how he could have been, apparently he was arrested.
Yeah, they tried to put him in.
Yeah, and he had no intent. I don't know. They're going through the court system now. I'd have to know more facts. I don't do criminal law, but it seemed, from my understanding of it, if he didn't have the intent to commit that, wherever they accused him of, then he shouldn't be found not guilty or should have never been arrested in the first place.
Because that's interesting. Please keep
us updated. They arrested the wrong guy.
They did arrest the wrong guy.
I thought he was going to tell me they arrested the other guy.
Yeah, Ken's kid didn't throw the punch.
Do anything. I know that. It's amazing. Why would they do that?
It's important to have mental health checks. People, I don't know. I'm very sorry to hear that.
You would think somebody at work would speak up on his behalf when all this was going on.
Right.
People just let's get involved.
My goodness.
Yep. All right.
Well, Eddie, that's another show in the bucket or whatever people say. All right. Thank you for listening to Legal Live, brought to you by Farah and Farah on 104.5 WOKV, Jacksonville's News and Talk. You can reach out to us next weekend at noon, 855-765-1045. Thank you so much for listening.
Frontier presents A Tale of Two Homes.
I moved in with Frontier Gig Fiber and have been gaming and surfing up a storm with super fast speeds.
And I moved in without it and haven't.
So you don't have 100% fiber optic network with 99.99% overall reliability?
That's correct.
Well, it's never too late to upgrade.
Don't just move. Move up. Switch to Frontier Gig Service for just $69.99 a month with AutoPay and get a $200 Visa reward card on us. Go to frontier.com/moving for complete offer details. Services subject to availability and all applicable terms and conditions.